Hey everyone, welcome back. I know last video I mentioned wanting to make an impressions video of Halo 5 and a bunch of the other games that I've beaten, but as I've heard several times recently, immediately after making that video I got sick. I was laid up in bed for a good week, didn't do anything, um, got out of that, and pretty much the next day stuff started arriving for my house. None of it was supposed to arrive so soon. So I had a front door and my kitchen leaning up against the wall. I had screen doors everywhere, shutters and boxes everywhere. This room looks normal here, but on the other side, there is nothing there. I had to take all that, put it into this room. So I actually haven't been able to play most of the stuff I'm going to show you. I did beat a few games, and so what I hope to do is after this make an impressions video of those. If that turns out well, you should see it in a few days. If not, then it means I ran out of time or it just didn't come out well. But I beat XCOM: The Bureau, Zelda Hyrule Warriors, and I'm about to finish Shadows of Mordor. I also finished two books. I'll talk about those as well. Um, but I was able to play the Wii U because it's in the living room, and we had some work done in there, but they were gone after a few days, so that was pretty much open for me to play. And in the back here, the only thing I left hooked up was the PlayStation 4 because it was just under a shelving unit. And that's how I've been able to play Shadows of Mordor. They're not still done in this room yet. There's a door right over here, not this one, but over there, that they're still working on. And there's also some shutters and stuff we have to put up on this side, on the outside. So I can't put anything against the wall just yet. And we need to put up some curtains and whatnot. But I did want to make this because it had been a while. But in between now and then, I have gotten rid of about 30 games I sent off. As I was moving everything to this room, I got so irritated with how much stuff I had that I just went through and did a culling. Of course, you see I replenished much of that here, but some of this is kind of old that I had left in the closet. And just to have it in the video, and I hadn't talked about it yet, thought I'd bring it out. It's an eclectic mix as usual. I also realized that going through a list of US Dreamcast games, thanks to McFly, I bought some more stuff from him. And there's another seller, the guy I always refer to as my favorite seller. He wants to get rid of a lot of his Dreamcast stuff. Well, there's a free app. Just look up Sega, and someone made an app that catalogs every US game. Now, it's not 100% because I know Destruction Derby was not released here, but this list is US release. So probably like plus minus about 5 to 10 games, but it's pretty accurate, and nothing else really stood out at me. I went through the list of what I'd already had, what I bought from McFly, and I really didn't need that much left that I wanted on the US Dreamcast. So I sent the list off to the guy, and he says he thinks he has most of it. I only want a handful of GameCube games. He thinks he has most of those. I bought a big lot of PC Engine, TurboGrafx 16, and Neo Geo CD games from him. They're not here yet because he, like McFly, was nice enough to just let me pay in installments or wait a little bit because I wanted to make sure everything was good at the house. The house stuff, I've been having the money for it, but you never know in those cases. Someone could have made a hole in something, and if you ever dealt with home renovations, costs can balloon out of nowhere. But everything's gone well so far. But I was looking at the list, and after I get that stuff from him, I'm going to be pretty much done with the stuff I want for US Dreamcast, GameCube. Looking at the Saturn list, there's 3 Saturn games, US games I want, and those are expensive now, so I probably won't get those. But I'll be done with the US Saturn and US PlayStation. I'd like to say I'm finished, but I'll see like a Boston Burf review of a game I've never heard of, and I just really want to try that. So maybe 5 to 10 more. The import market's always open. I'm always finding new things, but I'm going to rotate those in and out, get rid of stuff I don't play for the import side. I have a lot of doubles on the Saturn because a long time ago, imports were just dirt cheap for the Saturn. So I have like Fighters Mega Mix, Fighting Vipers, Virtua Fighter 2, and I have the US versions of those. And sometimes the imports do have extra, so I'll have to see which do and don't, and I'll keep the ones that do. But what I realize is for this current generation, I thought I had Shadows of Mordor here as a good example. I realize I don't really care about a collection for this generation. As much as fun as I'm having with Shadows of Mordor, I ask myself, do I want to sit here? And people always mention patches, but no one mentions install times. Do I want to sit here and let this thing install for it could be hour or 2 hours. Sometimes it's multiple hours. Then wait for patches to download and install, which is another few hours. Do I want to go through this again? Because I'm already maxed out on my PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Now I have a portable Xbox One hard drive I can use. PlayStation 4, I haven't swapped out the drives yet. I just don't want to bother. I'm really hoping they make external drives compatible soon. But it's a good like litmus test. Do I want to sit through this again? No. As much fun as I'm having with Shadows of Mordor, when I'm done with it, I'm going to be done with it. And for all these other games I show, like for example, Techromancer, yes, I'm going to want to pop this in later and play it. Now, would I be as enthusiastic about this if I had to sit through, at that point, even longer downloads and patches? So it could be 3 hours before I play it. That really dilutes your excitement for something. Now, for something like this, yeah, I probably would. But Shadows of Mordor, as fun as it is, no, because there's probably going to be a sequel in another 6 months. And what's further annoying about that is I thought, well, I'll just give this away. I'll get the Game of the Year edition. I'm enjoying it so much. And they do not let you transfer your saves or trophies to the Game of the Year edition. So there's little things like that with this generation that are just really bugging me. And I don't want to sit through the downloads. I'm still going to play new stuff, but when I look at the stuff I have, there's only a handful of Xbox One and PlayStation 4 games I think, yeah, I'm definitely going to return to this. The other stuff is more like, oh, it was fun to play through once, but I don't have the patience or time to let this download and basically set it in the morning and get back to it that evening or during the night and get to it the next day. I don't want to play in that long for most of these games. And for my download times, that's not exaggeration. It takes a while. And I don't know why it takes so long to install, but it takes so long on these games. So I think I'm probably going to be giving new stuff away as I play it, keep the one or two kind of special titles. But for the most part, just clearing out space. Jewel case games I have plenty of space for, but I do want to thin that out some. And I'm really happy with the collections I have. There's probably 5% is stuff that I just wanted to try that I probably haven't enjoyed or won't enjoy. But the rest are things I do want to keep. So once I get that settled, I think I'll be pretty good. I was surprised how close I am to the US Saturn and US Dreamcast set that I want. The rest of the Saturn games are sports games, either arcade sports or regular sports, and maybe like World Series Baseball 2 sounds fun. I'd try that, but anything with NFL in it, I don't want, and that's like 20-something titles. There's a few bowling games I don't want. There's some horse racing games I don't really, they don't sound that interesting and they're expensive. So yeah, really close to all those. I was very excited to realize that. And I'm pretty much done with what I want for the 32X right here, which I'll show in a sec. I got my wife's unicorn mug. All right, enough yammering. It's been 7 minutes. Sorry you've only seen this, but I don't think if you watch these videos regularly that you mind me yapping. So the first thing I bought, Hardcore Gaming's 101, the 200 best video games of all time. I will say this, their reasoning sometimes is a little specious, like they include Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. I don't know. Nothing in the world could convince me that's one of the 200 greatest games of all time. I do agree with a lot of their choices, though. There's Link's Awakening. And you'll see also at the bottom they have See Also, where they talk about similar games. It could be another game in the same franchise, like this is A Link to the Past. This is the Battle of Olympus. Silent Hill, see Silent Hill 2. Let's see, you have an entry for Amnesia. Star Control 2, Legend of Grimrock 2. So there are some Dragon Force and Red Alert 2. Some surprising releases, a few PC entries, which I was happy to see, because normally PC gaming gets ignored in these. And there's also a kind of a quick list in the back. I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, Beneath a Still Sky, which is free on Good Old Games, Darklands. So yeah, it's a fun read. I haven't gone through all of it yet because I just got this in, but I have been going through it. But I will say, this is only $12.95 or $12 for the black and white. The color's about $30. If you want pictures, definitely get the color, splurge for it. These black and white photos are almost worthless. Like for the bigger shots, it's fine. But for these smaller ones, it is really hard to see any detail in these. Let's see. Yeah, like here's Suikoden 2. You have to squint to see what like the detail on this. Because I played the game, I understand what's the general, what the scene is. But when I asked my wife if she could make out what was going on in something like this, she had no idea what was happening. And to be honest, I barely do. And it looks like a column, but that's a, see, these things all look similar, but that is a guy, and this is garbage next to him, like barrels. So yeah, if you haven't tried a bunch of the games, when you look at the index, because I think that's free to look at on Amazon, get the color so you can see what's going on. I'm familiar with all these games, so like I said, I just know what the shot's supposed to be. But the black and white one, while it's easy for them to produce, these screens are really bad. But again, it's $12. You save about $20 with the black and white one. Let me put that here. Now, as I mentioned, I've been getting a number of TurboGrafx 16 games, the bulk of which are imports from my favorite seller, who is going to share that now with McFly. So I'll say favorite seller, The Elder, because he was the first go-to guy. Those are mostly imports, but I did pick up 2 domestic titles. There's an eBay seller. He's selling sealed copies of Bravo Man. And there's also a seller that is selling these cases to put them in. So I got a Bravo Man and a Cybercore. Now this box is in pretty rough shape. It looks pretty good here, but you can see the wear on this side. But it was about the same price as cart only, or card only. And I have so few of these boxes, I like to jump on them when I can. And yeah, for the same price, why not? It's an insect shooter. I gotta say, I'm a sucker for insect shooters. I'm not sure why there are so many on the TurboGrafx 16, but I do enjoy them. So I'll have plenty more TurboGrafx 16 games to show shortly when I get the rest in with the Neo Geo CD stuff. But these 2, this was an accident, but a happy accident. This is Don Pachi. I thought it was Dodon. I quickly saw the listing, scrolled down, saw that it was going really cheap, put a bid in, didn't really check back, and I actually won it for like $20. And then when the invoice came, I saw the picture and thought, no, that's not accurate. That's not right. I messed up. But why not? I've read that it's not as good as Dodon, but I'm not going to be too worked up about it. I mean, most people say it's a solid game, so I got a solid game, but now I'm noticing there's a sticker on the actual insert saying not for sale. Don't know what that's about. But in any event, a good price for it. Like I said, I haven't got to try this yet because my import PlayStation, or my modded PlayStation 1 was behind me, and now it's in that room. So I'll get to that when I can. I got this in. It's a demo for Ghost in the Shell for PlayStation. Again, without my import PlayStation, I haven't had a chance to try it. But again, I'm a sucker for demo discs. I have a bunch of demo tours on my channel. If you like demo discs as well, just type in demo in the video search and plenty should come up. The seller also sent me, this is a sealed copy of Samurai Showdown 2, but this is going to be free because this is supposed to be Samurai Showdown 1. So he is going to send me that soon. I guess because after return shipping, he would basically get back a few bucks on this because it was like $18. No, actually, this was $12. Or 12 pound, which is like 16 bucks, $15. I don't think he'd make any money at all, so I just told to keep it. So I already have this, though. I have 2 other copies of this because other people have sent me Samurai Showdown 2 instead of Samurai Showdown 1. Even though the pictures show Samurai Showdown 1, well, I guess when they're going through their inventory, they don't see a 2 here, and they think, oh, that's part 1. So I have several of these, but none have been sealed. So a few more Neo Geo CD games. I got Cross Sword for $10. I'm guessing because the cover looks a little faded here, but the spine, I mean the black spine here isn't. So I'm not really sure. Maybe it's just a printing error. But this is a really fun action role-playing game. Not like a Diablo. It's behind the back. Your character's a wireframe. And you swing left and right. You can use spells. There's a shop you go to. This is one of the first games I had, or this is when I first had a Neo Geo CD back in the early 2000s. I had Cross Swords 1. So I'm really happy to get this back. Me and a friend played it. It is a 2-player. A lot of fun. Very arcadey. It's an arcadey action role-playing game. They don't make a lot like these. It's very unique. Also grabbed, what is this? Galaxy Fight. This was $10. I have the Saturn version of this and wasn't a huge fan of it, but I want to see how this one holds up. I figured if I'm going to like a version, it's going to be a Neo Geo version. And good price. I would consider it a middle of the road fighter, but I remember it having long screens. Like you could kick someone to the edge and the screen would keep going. So want to try this out. I don't have my Neo Geo CD out because the guy who modded my Turbo Duo a few months back said he would do a region mod on the Neo Geo CD and to get back with him. So I packed it up and he never got back with me. So it's in a box in that room ready to be shipped out. So I guess I'm just going to have to open it so I can start playing this stuff. And the last Neo Geo CD game is Baseball Stars 2. This one does not have a spine. The other one did. And I guess that's why this one was only about $11. And I wasn't going to get this, but I read it had some sort of role-playing elements. So I figured I'd give it a shot. Let's see. Oh, this is completely unexpected. I sent an email to the people about this early last year. Oh, my foot's going to sleep. And I hadn't heard anything back from them. And then out of nowhere, I get an email saying your order's ready. I was 256, I think, in line. I didn't think it was going to happen. Their website hasn't been updated in like a year and a half. And it came. It's Another World. This is the Jaguar, obviously, port of it. It was the creator sanctioned it, and it came from, I left it in here, Retro Gaming Connection Association. You get the game and a manual, and it comes in a Jaguar-sized box, obviously. And this is just a little note from them saying thank you. It's a French company, and yeah, really happy to have this. Like I said, was not planning on this, kind of completely forgot about it, and they followed through. Next up, I bought a few imports, and I grabbed this because it was $3. This is a strategy role-playing game. I really like the cover art to this. The back doesn't show anything. It's got some nice character art, but the screenshots are very bland. Just an island, floating island, and a character on a creature. But I like this art a lot. If I can get it without the glare. Sometimes people say you shouldn't buy things just to have it on your shelf, but look at that. That's very nice. I will just look at that on my shelf. I've been wanting to play this for ages. I mentioned to Shock 16 a video, one of his recent pickup videos. We never got this, and that is Deep Fear. I read that this is playable even if you don't know Japanese because I think it's the voice acting is in English. But I missed out on getting the US prototype of this to play it in English, and the PAL version is $100. I think it's when you do the currency conversion, it's like $300 here, $250. Well, it'll be about $250 to $300 plus another $20 postage. This came complete, and looking forward to trying this. My import Saturn, like everything else, is tucked away in that room. But it came with all these little flyers and whatnot. I always love it when games do that. This was part of one of the import packages. It was $4, Grandia. I had this for PlayStation, but I remember the Saturn version being a really big deal, and I thought I would give it a whirl, see what it's like. Mainly out of curiosity, because I remember when this came out, everyone in the U.S. wanted it to come here, and we all thought it would, and we got really excited, and then it didn't. And when stuff like that happens, you always hear kind of rumors and legends about the game that, oh no, this would have been a final, like on par with Final Fantasy VII. Sega should have done it. It's amazing. And then when the PlayStation version came out, then you would hear, oh, the Saturn version is so much better. So now I'll finally get to try it. Bubbleun recommended a bunch of shooters, and I do not have the kind of pockets for a lot of the games he mentioned. Those are really expensive, or they just don't come up, but I was able to grab Fire Shark. This came up in really good condition. In fact, the only problem is a little bit of wear right there, but the manual's got some use, but not too bad. This is a top-down shooter. The screens are kind of blurry. I do plan on hooking the Genesis up today, actually. I have it. I can hook it up in another room. See, the manual looks like the front. It's in black and white, which isn't too strange, but this game is like, it's a DreamWorks game like Target Earth, which means the cart has a black and white sticker, which I always found that odd. I guess it saved them money. I mentioned that I bought some stuff from McFly, and I bought quite a few Dreamcast games. I only brought 3 up here with me because they're already stored. Illbleed. I had this years back. I remember not being crazy about it, But when I was looking into it again, it sounded fun. So I'm wondering if my temperament's changed. So Illbleed, The Typing of the Dead. And I showed D2 in my last video, and I said I was going to get the US version if I liked the import, and he just happened to have the domestic one, so I went ahead and grabbed it. Haven't had a chance to try these yet because my Dreamcast still hasn't been returned by the first modder, who he fixed up, what was it, a Saturn, I want to say? Oh, no, he fixed up the Super Famicom, the Super Nintendo Junior that I had to get the second guy to fix. He still hasn't returned my Dreamcast. I had a backup Dreamcast in the closet, hooked it up today, and I played Techromancer to see if it worked, but I haven't plugged in any of McFly stuff yet because I was just able to get to the closet a few days ago. But I don't know what's going on with Dreamcast games, but all of them have this wear on the spine. It drives me nuts, but if you want to collect Dreamcast games, that's just something I've come to realize you have to accept. I have Dreamcast instruction manuals I've never taken out of the case that have that wear on the side. Why'd they go with white? Man, I think it just flakes over. A lot of it looks like buffing damage, but I also think it is just wear over time, like the black flakes off. All right, we have Shinobi for the Game Gear. I figured I'd grab the 4 Game Gear games I want. So Shinobi, few 32X games here. Finally got Virtua Fighter. This does not come up complete a lot. It's always missing the tray or the box. I wish someone would make some reproduction trays because every tray is terrible. And this one, like for some reason Star Wars and the others, is bent down the side here. You can't see it, which I didn't see in the image, but there's a crease all the way down to right here. I'm not sure what causes that. And Shadow Squadron, I read on a bunch of best of lists. This is thought of highly, and it looked pretty fun in the videos. It's a space shooter. And I've been playing TIE Fighter recently, or trying to. The control schemes are all wonky on it. And got me in the mood to try this. Picked up 2 Genesis games. Shadow Dancer. This is still pretty cheap, but it's hard to get complete in good condition. A lot of the versions you see are kind of the best of, where this image is shrunk to the side. But this now completes my Shinobi collection. I think I have every Shinobi title, save for that, was it Nightingale or something, spin-off on the PlayStation 2. And I grabbed a nice looking copy of Ghouls and Ghosts. I'm almost done with my Genesis collection. I would like, the few games I still want are shooters, but those are really expensive, so I might just pass on those. I showed this earlier, Techromancer. The guy originally wanted $35 for this. I asked if he was sure, and he said, oh yeah, it's got some wear. But I looked it up, make it $40 and $2 shipping. Well, this is like an $80 game, so I said, yeah, go for it. And it turns out the wear is just some few indentions on the spine, nothing too bad. Mainly from the staples, but there were some stains on it. I was able to get it off. I put a little water on the knuckle, and I did a circular motion, and it got it all off. The disc did have a lot of wear, but I tried it earlier, and it booted up, so no problems there. I had a PAL version of this, and I thought that was the only way I was going to be able to play it. So really happy to get that in. Crack Lotus recommended these 2 games. So I picked up Phantasy Star Zero for the DS. And for a whopping $4, I got 4. A bunch of people have recommended this, but he's been a really big supporter of it. A while back, I picked this Radiata Stories. Problem with that is it looks like no one used it, but the registration card's used. So it's odd when someone has something that looks like they never touched it, yet they took the time to. See, it looks completely mint. But registration card is gone. Next up is Virtual on Mars. This is not rare, but it just doesn't come up a lot, the US version. This was only $10, or maybe $9. But you see a bunch of the import, but not a lot of the US. This is on the recommendation of Derek H. For $3, I got Evergrace. This is mainly for the soundtrack. I remember hearing that the game itself wasn't that great, but I rented it years back, and I don't really remember how it played, but I remember the soundtrack, and I listened to the soundtrack periodically on YouTube, one of the few gaming soundtracks I do, and it's really good. So for $3 with, I think it was $1.50 shipping, definitely grabbed that one. This was on sale for $25 on Amazon with free shipping. This is Dungeons & Dragons, the PSN and Xbox Live re-release of Tower of Doom and Shadow over Mysteria, or was it Mystara? Thought I'd go ahead and get the physical copy while I could. And really cheap. The Strider one's still at $30, and I saw this. I thought, well, if this is whichever's cheaper, I'll go with. And at $25, this one won. And for the handful of new releases, I have Gravity Rush. It's an Amazon exclusive if you want the physical copy. And 2 Wii U games, Giana Sisters and Shovel Knight. Now that I'm using that new gamepad, I'm really enjoying it after beating Hyrule Warriors. So I grabbed these 2. And that is it, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will talk to everyone later.